Let us see our next question. Sun Moon Mutual Fund. It is an approved mutual fund, sponsored open-ended equity oriented scheme. Name of the scheme is Chanakya Opportunity Fund. There were two plans, namely bonus plan and growth plan. At the time of IPO, initial public offer, on April 1st, 2015, Mr. Bacchan and Mrs. Charu, two investors, invested an amount of rupees 1 lakh each and selected Plan B and Plan C respectively. The history of the fund is as follows. On 31st of March 2020, on 24th of March 2025 and 31st of July 2025. Bonus ratio is given. Net asset value is given on per unit basis, it is rupees 10. For Plan B, NAV per unit is provided on the different dates, and for Plan C, again NAV per unit is given for different dates. On 31st of July means on 31st of July 2025, both investors redeemed all the balance units. Calculate annual rate of return to each of the investor. Means we are required to compute the annualized rate of return for Mr. Bacchan and for Mrs. Charu. Considering that long-term capital gain is exempt, short-term capital gain is subject to 10% of income tax. Security transaction tax is 0.2% only on sale or redemption of the units, and you have to ignore education cess, that is the information. I request all of you to go through the information of the question, please. Now let us have understanding that how to make calculation of the return for an investor who has made investment in the bonus plan. For that, similar to the dividend reinvestment plan, we are required to work out the answer. First of all, we will make the calculation that what is the number of units allotted to the investor initially. That is, in this example, it is 1 lakh. NAV per unit is 10 because no information is given as such at which the investment is made. So 10,000 number of units will be initially allotted. Then 5 units will be allotted for every 4 held. 1 unit will be allotted for every 4 held. That is the way we will compute the number of units held by the investor on the date of redemption. That is the first working note. The second working note will be as usual capital gain, that is the capital gain tax calculation. If at all within last 1 year, any number of units allotted to the investor. Then time period of holding investment. Next is the income to the investor, and last will be return to the investor. In this sequence, we are required to make the calculation of answer. So let us start calculating the answer. Working note number 1. Calculation of number of units, comma, that investor would redeem on 31st of July 2025. And this time the preparation of the table is quite simple. We have to work out the answer like this. Column number 1 is date. Column number 2 is units allotted. Column number 3 will be balance units. That is the way we are required to make the calculation of answer. Initially, how many units have been allotted? Let us see. That is on 1st of April 2015. That is the date of investment. 1 lakh rupee of the investment made, and NAV, that is a face value, is 10. So 1 lakh upon 10, that comes to 10,000 number of units. So the balance is again 10,000. Next is 31st of March 2020. 5 units for every 4 head. So it is 10,000 into 5 upon 4. So it comes to 12,500 units. So balance increases to 22,500. That is 10,000 plus 12,500. Over here we don't have to see in this calculation process that what is the NAV on that respective date. The next is 24th of March 2025. In that, 1 for every 4 units held. So 22,500 divided by 4 into 1. So it comes to 5625 plus 22,500. So 28125. This is the way we are required to compute the balance number of units on the date of redemption. Working note number 2. Calculation of short-term capital gain tax payment. Dear students, we can see that we have redeemed the investment on 31st of July 2025 minus 1, that is 31st of July 2024. After that, say whether any number of units allotted, let us check. Initially, the units allotted in 2015, then 2020. So both number of units are say before 1 year. However, this number of units have been allotted within last 1 year. So the units allotted, say for the last year, that is within this 1 year, is subject to capital gain tax. So over here we are required to consider like this. Particulars amount. In that we will mention sale value of investment. We understand that say the price at which we have sold or we have redeemed the units is 22.98. So it is 22 rupees 98 paise multiplied with the number of units, that is 5625, less purchase price. Purchase price is 19.95 into 5625. That is the sale value of the investment, say within last 1 year. So 22 rupees 98 paise into 5625. 1,29,262.5. 19.95 into 5625. 1,12,218.75. Difference of that is the capital gain. So difference between both of them is 17,043.75, and capital gain tax is at the rate of 10%. So in that case it is 1704.375 or 38. This is the way the capital gain tax will be calculated. As far as the calculation of the short-term capital gain tax payment is concerned, the institute has taken this as the purchase price of the units. Even though as far as the bonus units are concerned, it is like having no charges, yet as per the ICI suggested answer, this is required to be taken as the purchase price of the unit. Working note number 3. Calculation of time period of holding investment. That's very simple. We understand that say 1st of April 2015 to 31st of March, let us say 2025. So this comes to 10 years. 1 year is consisting of 12 months, so it is 120 months. Fine. Then 1st of April 2025 to 31st of July 2025. So it is April, May, June and July. This is 4 months. So the total is 124 months. That is the way the time period of holding investment can be found. I request all of you to calculate the answer of the income and put your answer in the chat box. So write down next working note number 4. Calculation of income. Let us see that say how to make the calculation of answer. Column number 1 is particulars. Column number 2 is amount. In that say we will write the redemption value of investment. What is the number of units that say you are redeemed? You can see it is 28,125. What is the redemption price? 22.98. 28,125 into 22 rupees 98 paise less security transaction tax that is supposed to be paid at the rate of 0.2% less short-term capital gain tax payment, that is say for which we have prepared a working note, less purchase price of the investment. Deducting all of them from the redemption value will get the income. This is what we understand. So kindly use your calculator. 28,125 into 22 rupees 98 paise, 6,46,312.5. Security transaction tax is 0.2%. So 6,46,312.5 into 0.2%. That comes to 1,292.63. For short-term capital gain, again we have prepared a working note. So 1,704.38. Next is a purchase price which is 1 lakh. Deducting all of them from the redemption value will get the income. So 646,312.50 minus 1,292.63 minus 1,704.38 minus 1 lakh. So it comes to 5,43,315.49. This is the income that say you are able to generate. and based on that, so the return will be calculated. Last answer is calculation of the return. It will be calculated in percentage term. It is income upon investment into 12 divided by n into 100. Amount of the income is 5,43,315.49. Amount of investment is 1 lakh. Into 12 divided by 124. Into 100 for getting answer in percentage though. So 52.58%. That is the way the return is supposed to be calculated. Let us have understanding further that how to make the calculation of the return, say for like the bonus plan, because we have been provided that there is another plan which is the growth plan. So let us have understanding that say how to make the computation of the return for the growth plan. So understanding that say how to make the computation of the return for the growth plan. Now in case of growth plan, what happens that the working is extremely simple. Whatever the number of units that are allotted to you initially, the same number of units that you will be having at the time of redemption of the investment. Over here we understand that the 1 lakh rupee divided by 10,000 number of units were allotted to you. Now when you redeem the investment on this date, this is the date at which the redemption will be given to you. And of course we understand that the time period of holding investment is 124 months. So there is no question of the short-term capital gain tax payment. Accordingly, we are required to make the calculation of answer. There is no change in the number of units as far as the growth plan is concerned. So let us see how to make the calculation of answer. Heading right down growth plan. In that write down working note number 1. Calculation of units allotted. It is investment divided by net asset value per unit. Amount of investment is rupees 1 lakh. Net asset value per unit is 10. So the answer is 10,000 units. That is the way first working note is supposed to be prepared. There is no capital gain tax. So the second working note is discarded. Third is the time period of holding investment. It is the same as what we already have done it. So that directly will have the fourth working note, that is the income. So this becomes the working note number 2. Calculation of income. In that again 2 columns, particulars and amount. In that redemption value of investment, you will be having say the 10,000 number of units only at the time of redemption, multiplying with NAV per unit is 82 rupee 7 paise. So it is into 82.07 So that comes to 8,20,700 less security transaction tax. It is 820,700 into 0.2 percentage. So that comes to 1,641.4 less no short-term capital gain tax payment, so directly investment. The amount of the investment that we made initially was 1 lakh. So now we'll get the income. So it is 820,700 minus 1641.40 minus 1 lakh. That comes to 7,19,058.6. This is the income that we have. Once we get the income, then we'll compute the return. Next is a return calculation. It will be calculated as income divided by investment into 12 divided by n into 100. The amount of the income is 719,058.150, 719,058.60 divided by 1 lakh into 12 divided by 124 into 100. This is the way we are required to find answer. The answer is 69.59%. This is the return to the investor. Now friends, importantly, what happens at in case of the in case of the growth plan, the number of units are remaining same. So for the purpose of calculation of the return, instead of going like this, a student may have a small like the formula to be applied in this way also. If at all you want to do the answer, again it is income upon investment into 12 divided by n into 100. What is the redemption value of the unit? It is 82 rupees 7 paise less 0.2 percentage minus purchase price is 10 divided by 10 once again into 12 divided by 124 into 100. That is the way you can make the simply calculation of the answer, because the redemption value is 82 rupees 7 paise. When you redeem the investment, you have to pay the security transaction tax. So it is 82.07 minus 0.2 percentage. That comes to 81.90586. 81.90586 minus 10 upon 10 into 1200 divided by 124. So 81.90586 minus 10, that comes to 71.90586 into 1200 upon 1240. That comes to 69.59%. And definitely, dear students, say going with this process is also acceptable in examination. The institute is concerned with your answer only, not the way you are presenting your answer. So doing answer by either of the method is acceptable in examination. Let me revise the entire answer to you. First of all, I am explaining to you that's how to compute the return for the bonus plan. In that, so the first working note will be prepared as the number of units that the investor would have on the date of redemption. Whatever the bonus ratio which is given to us, in that proportion, so the number of units will be allotted to the investor. So initially 10,000 number of units, then 5 for every 4 head, so 12,500. Then 1 for every 4 head, so 5625. So it is 28,125 is the number of units that the investor would have on the date of redemption. The second working note is the calculation of the short-term capital gain tax payment. So within last 1 year, whatever the number of units that the investor has redeemed, on that say you are required to pay the capital gain tax. So it is say the 22 rupees 98 paisa redemption value into number of units allotted within last 1 year, minus say whatever the NAV on the date on which this 5,625 units were allotted will be considered as purchase price. Accordingly, the capital gain, and only 10% of that is required to be paid as tax. The third working note is the time period of holding investment. That comes to 124 months over here. Then calculation of the income. This is an important working note. The total number of units that will be redeemed into NAV per unit. That is the redemption value. Minus like the STT, minus like the short-term capital gain tax payment, minus the investment that you had made, and with that so you get the income. So the return is, let's say 5,43,000 approximately is the income on investment of 1 lakh into 12 divided by n. That is the way you are converting that into annualized term, into 100 for getting answer in percentage term. Next is the growth plan. In that so the calculations are very simple. Why? Because the number of units that you are holding as an investor, that does not change. So first of all, you compute the number of units allotted to you. Then you compute the amount of the income, that is the redemption value of the investment, minus security transaction tax, so minus investment. No short-term capital gain tax payment because within the last 1 year, no units were allotted. Second thing that we understand is that say time period of holding investment is not required to be found. It has already been found by us. And with that, so the return is found. This calculation can be done alternatively by using a formula like this. Income upon investment into 12 divided by n into 100. That is why we can do this equation over here, because the number of units held by the investor does not change. So whether you make the calculation on per unit basis or you make calculation for the overall all number of units, in either of the case the answer is going to remain same.